Hello, I'm Ben Blazan and I'm excited because I know that a number of grand piano owners will be able to improve the treble section of their piano just by following the simple procedure I'm about to describe. Do you want to see if your piano could benefit? Well then let's get started. A powerful and clear treble range is one of the hallmarks of a great piano, but ideally this range can also produce round singing tones. Achieving this elusive capacity often requires techniques that are well beyond the knowledge of your average piano owner. However, the very first course of action that a technician will take to try to improve the tone of the treble is one that I'm confident almost anyone could do, and it often yields striking improvement. In fact, it involves striking improvement. That is, testing whether we can improve where the hammers are striking the strings. Each string has a region that, when struck, produces the best tone. This optimal strike point is fairly big and forgiving in the bass section, but as we travel higher in pitch, the target grows smaller and smaller, to where even a change of just a 1/16 of an inch makes a huge difference. I'll demonstrate this in just a second. As a piano experiences hammer wear and other ravages of age, its strike points can drift from their ideal. Here's how a technician checks to see if this has happened. Notice that I can alter the strike point by sliding the action back and forth. This allows us to try on other strike points to see if they offer some improvement. To explore this on a piano, first we need to remove a few parts. We'll want to clear away the fallboard and the key slip, also making sure that the cheek blocks are free from their fasteners. Because pianos differ in the way these parts are fastened, I'm just going to rely on your high IQ to figure out your particular piano. There are also online resources if you get stuck. Suffice it to say, though, we will all have to remove the screws that hold the cheek blocks, and those are accessed from underneath. But as soon as you have your piano looking like mine here, with the fallboard gone and the key slip removed, then you're ready to go. Return the cheek blocks to either side of the keyboard and give the una corda a few pumps. This will settle the action where it tends to live. And then I want to remove the treble cheek block without moving the action and just take a record of where the action is. What I like to do is make a mark on painter's tape to give me a point of reference. Right. I'll then do the same for the key bed. So there's my record of where the action has been. A lot of technicians will start with note number 85, that's the highest A on a piano, just because it's a little easier to hear than the top note. So let's give a listen. Did you notice that when I moved the action just a little bit this way, the sound got kind of faint and pinched? It was a little less noticeable when I moved it that way, and I'm not sure if the mics can pick it up, but as I came back from that extreme, there was just a little bit more ring in the sound. Let's just do that one more time so you can sort of train your ears. Now I'm happy to say that my strike point is where it should be, thanks to my obsessive nature. But let's pretend that when we did the cheek blocks and pumped the una corda, your action ended up here. We notice there's kind of a faint thwacky sound that's not as good as it could be. And so what we do is we move it around. Again, you can test, you don't have to just test A. It's good to test a bunch of notes. Let's move down to this C here. Hear how it got more voluptuous, shall we say, as I moved it away from our starting mark. It's going to be more noticeable probably on that A we were talking about earlier. It sort of just comes into its own, right? What I would do in that case is note how far the action moved and in which direction. Then I would look at my cheek block. The cheek block on my piano is really unusual in that it has a fixed position for this little post to insert into. So the only recourse that I have is to make sure that the hammers are glued at the right distance on the shanks. And truth be told, I recently re-glued 21 hammers just to chase that optimal strike point. Worth it. More common is a cheek block such as this one from a Baldwin. And you can see that there's an adjustable plate that can move back and forth. So in this case, I would measure that. That looks like about, 2 millimeters. And since I want the action to be a little further in, I would move it this direction 2 millimeters. So that's all you do, is just make sure that you adjust the cheek block so that it secures the action in that optimal place. I encourage you to take your time with this, and you can test any part of the piano, but as I said earlier, the strike point is a lot more forgiving down here. You'll notice the most difference and you'll have the most power to influence maybe from about here up. Now you may find in experimenting that you can improve this section quite a bit, but then this section suffers, or vice versa, and you're left with sort of a Sophie's choice, if you will. In that case, I would just figure out what's going to be most important to you in the short term, and if it's important enough to you, then you might hire a piano technician to come over and re-glue hammers, which would be the only option if there's a great disparity. But I have to say, this is a hugely important aspect of the tone of the piano. And as a matter of fact, if this is not in place, you can't really voice yourself out of it. You can needle the hammers, you can harden the hammers, but they just won't be all that they can be if the strike point is off. So this is something that I really encourage piano owners to investigate. If you were able to improve your treble section using this procedure, I would absolutely love to hear your success story in the comments below. And I invite you to share this video with anyone you know who owns a grand piano. Who knows, it could change an instrument they like into an instrument they love. I hope to see you next time on Inside Pianos.